Law of attraction and creating your own reality. And what we have above on the board here is law of attraction, happiness, and conditioning. Sorry you can't see the words, but that's what they say. And I just happened to write it a little bit too high. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about right now is, what is law of attraction? How can we really understand it? And what does it have to do with our true self? Because there's all these ideas out there about creating your own reality, and if you just visualize and positive affirm and do vision boards and this and that and modulate your vibration and do this, you can create whatever you want, you can be whatever you want, you can be, do, have whatever you want. And that may work for some people. The issue is that it often does not work for a lot of people. It often fails for a lot of people and sort of seems hokey or weird or stupid to a lot of other people. We're going to understand how this relates to our baggage, which we all have, and our conditioning, which we all have, and really get into how all of this relates and goes together, and how really we can learn to attract truly what we want and truly what is right for us, and truly create reality and break through our conditioning. And as a result, be more happy, which is really what we all want. So what is law of attraction? Well, the generic idea is that there's this law that we can attract whatever we want. If we just think about it, visualize it, or feel it, we'll magically and magnetically just pull it to us in reality. And this interests a lot of people because it's kind of magical and mysterious and gives life kind of insight. And people think, oh, it's finally a way out of all this stuff that I don't like. And they think it has to do with some magical mechanism or some weird thing where the universe is just going to serve them and do everything that they want. And even in many videos and movies and books, people say, oh, the universe is at your command, the universe is at your service. You just go and you just order on the menu of the universe, it just gives you whatever you want. That sounds amazing, that sounds awesome. That is just not how life works most of the time for a lot of people. Well, why? Well, maybe it has a lot to do with our conditioning. Maybe it has a lot to do with our true self. And maybe what law of attraction really is and has to do with is the nature of understanding how we perceive reality and what we know about reality. So really, maybe it comes down to more of our conditioning and more of our mental construct, because we don't see the world. We don't see the external world. We see our own psychology. We see our own conditioning. We see our own nervous system. All we perceive is the nervous system, and all we perceive is what registers on our nervous system. Well, what registers on our nervous system? What we choose to focus on, what we choose to think about, or what we are conditioned to think about, or what we are conditioned to see. And then as a result, that is, quote, what we attract. So really what it's more about is, well, where is our focus? What is our mindset? What is our programming? What is our conditioning? And what is our basic focus? Because perhaps it's more about recognizing opportunity, or seeing things that are all around us and always have been all around us, but actually seeing them. Actually seeing opportunity when it presents itself. Oftentimes that's really what luck or success is about, is being open and seeing an opportunity. 20 people might look at the same thing, 1,000 people, 1,000,000 people might all look at the same thing, and all of them say, oh, it doesn't matter, it's not important. But then one person has the mindset to say, oh wait, there's an opportunity, there's what I need, there's what I'm looking for. Is that a magical, mystical process of the universe giving you this and that? Or is it more about just your own psychology and your own focus and your own mindset? Maybe both, maybe one or the other. That's really up for you to decide and for you to think about. And then going further, there's this idea that, well, you can attract, create whatever you want, and just come up with your vision board and do this and do that and do what you want. But maybe what we think we want is just what we are conditioned to think that we want. Maybe society says, well, if you are this kind of person, you have this sort of thing, you live this kind of life, you do these things, so that's what you should want. People say, oh, cool, this is what I want. I'm going to attract it. I'm going to create my reality. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Maybe they get it. Maybe they get it, and maybe they realize, it's not really what I wanted. I'm not really happy about this. Or maybe they just work and work and work and do this and do this and do this and never get the thing, and then say, oh, this stuff doesn't work. It's pretty stupid. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. I'm upset. So what is oftentimes more effective, what is oftentimes a higher leverage, higher return investment, is to focus on really what's our true self. What is right for ourselves? What is right for our blueprint or our inherent nature? Maybe that is having a bunch of money. Maybe that is having a huge house. Maybe it is attracting and doing all the things that society says we should do. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's something different. And unless we tune into ourselves and really what's true for us, we probably aren't really going to be able to harmonize with the cosmos at large, or attract opportunities, or even perceive opportunities when they are presented to us. So then takes us to our baggage and our conditioning, because we all have it. We're all born in a matrix. We're all born in a culture. We're all born into a family. We're all surrounded by human beings. And some of us have really open auras and really open centers, and everyone's crap just gets dumped inside of us. And we start to just be filled with everyone else's conditioning, everyone else's programming. So then when we go to attract and create our reality, it's just not really working. It's not really there because we're not really at the core of who we are. And oftentimes with this baggage and conditioning, we get issues of self-worth. We get issues of apathy, complacency, and questioning our deservingness. Because people will say, oh, well, who are you to do that? Or don't worry, you don't need to go do this. You don't need to go do that. Just stay here and do this. You don't need to succeed. You don't need to grow. You don't need to expand. You aren't worth that. You should be insecure. You should question yourself. You should not trust yourself. You should live this way and that way and fit into this box and this label. And maybe this is because the people that raised us and conditioned us had issues of self-worth, had issues of complacency, and had issues of deservingness. And since really you can't miss what you've never had, and you can't give what you don't have, this person, that's all they have to transfer over. That's their reality. That's their construct. And they think that's the way the world is. It's not necessarily good or bad. It's not necessarily we need to be angry at them or need to blame them or whatever, because that's just maybe what they have. Maybe that's what was given to them, what was given to their parents and their society and their culture. Maybe that was all they ever thought to believe or to be true for themselves. So we need to look at our conditioning, our baggage, and see really maybe we have some self-worth issues. Maybe we have some deservingness. Maybe we feel apathetic and complacent. And really think about maybe that's really in the mix of sort of distorting our true self or distorting our ability to attract and manifest. Because we can't miss what we've never had. We can't give what we don't have. And when it relates to self-worth, we have kind of a duality of what's a real self-worth, what's a real sense of self-worth, and what is just conditioned by society. What is just society telling us that we should or shouldn't have? Well, basically, society tells us that, self-worth is about our job, it's about our status, it's about our possessions or our labels or our spiritual rank or which organization we belong to or country club or whatever, or what neighborhood we live in, what college we went to, how much money we have, what kind of watch we have, what kind of clothes we wear. Basically, society says really your self-worth is contingent and based upon all of these external ideas, which are all conditioned by society, in which all are extremely transient and extremely temporary, meaning they could disappear likely at any time, and they're based on mostly what other people think and what other people say. So when we operate out of this mindset, we're basically saying, oh, here's all my power, here's all my autonomy and my control, Take it. Just take it away from me. You can have it. And then our lives are basically judged and guided by the opinions and the whims and the conditioning of other people who might not really have self-worth, who might not have really ever gone out and tried to do something or tried to succeed or try to grow or expand or know themselves or do any of these different things. Maybe they never did it. Maybe they think it's stupid. Maybe they have their own issues. So that's all they can really give to us. So on that note, how does it make any sense at all to give them the power? How does it make any sense at all to put our self-worth and invest it in these issues? Now, I'm not saying a good job and status and possessions and labels and whatever are bad. They're not. They're not good or bad because we create good or bad. We create meaning. For some people, it's right. For other people, it's wrong. And it's really about what allows us to express our true self, what allows us to embody that. And then we will naturally attract the things that we want. We will naturally attract the things that are right for us because we're operating out of more of a truth. We're operating out of a lifestyle and a thought process and an authoritative energy in our body that is in alignment and in harmony with our blueprint, in alignment with what is right for us. So then the things around us will shape and mirror that. And our nervous system will shape and mirror that as well because that will be our focus. That will be our intention. So then how does that relate to happiness? Because, happiness is supposedly the point of life. People think, oh, I gotta be happy. Oh, I gotta get all of these things so I can be happy. I gotta get this job or get this relationship or this spouse or this house or this car or this amount of money, and then I'll finally be happy. I'll finally have the thing. And really we can call this the deferred life program. And often it doesn't work. Often it's just delaying life and denying life. Because when we're basically investing in our self-worth and putting in all these external things, we're more or less offending the cosmos at large. Because our self-worth is not something we have to get, something we have to earn. It's something that is ours because we were born. Something that is ours because we exist. Because the principles of cosmic equality. Because the principles of cosmic harmony, which are the organizing faculties and processes of the world and of the construct that we live in. So we don't have to do anything or become anything or have anything to have this. And really, the only way we can do and have and become these things is by coming from a place of being what is right for us, being what is true for ourselves, and leaving other people to do the same, leaving other people to do what they need to do, and becoming more autonomous in the sense that we give ourselves self-worth, we give ourselves permission, we give ourselves a sense of deservingness to do and be and have what we want. Not based on what people tell us we should and ought to, but really what is coming from our natural inherent intelligence, what is coming from our body awareness. So now any conversation about law of attraction or creating reality or living your dreams or being your true self is really not complete without going over the ideas of happiness, what it is and really what it's all about. And people have this idea that really we should just be happy all the time. If I'm not happy, something's wrong. I feel sad, I feel anxious, I feel depressed, I need medication, I need therapy, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to make this happen, I can't feel it, I gotta numb it out, I gotta get rid of it. And this is all usually coming from society and culture again, which if we want to give them our power, want to give them our autonomy, it's probably going to make us not feel very good because it's not really harmonious. So is happiness something that we just deserve greedily because it's ours and we should have it and we should feel it because we did this, we did that, and we played by the rules and we did what they said we should and we filling our roles and our societal duties, so we deserve to be happy? Or is it something that really needs to be cultivated? Is it something that perhaps is kind of like a plant in that maybe it needs a certain environment, it needs a certain set of conditions, and it needs a certain nourishment or attention and love and care to really grow and flourish? And it's something that when we set up the conditions, when we have the right conditions and the right environment, perhaps it just grows and flourishes by itself. We don't really have to do anything or really even think about it anymore. And it's often like, the more we talk about something, the more we have to focus on it and do it and make it happen, is really indicating that there's a real absence of that thing. Meaning if we look at people who are really spiritual, really, moral, really religious, they're usually the ones going around beating the drum, telling everyone about how spiritual they are, how pure they are, how religious they are, how devoted they are. And often they're only doing this because they're not. Because they're having to go and tell everyone and get validation and upliftment from other people because of their own internal lack, because of their own internal inadequacy. Likewise, people have self-worth issues and self-esteem issues, so they have to go around and accumulate all of these things so everyone else will see them and say, wow, they're cool, wow, they're good, wow, they've achieved X, Y, and Z, and they say, oh, I do have self-worth, I am okay, and there's giving the power over to these other people. So happiness perhaps is something that we need to cultivate like a plant, and at a certain point it just takes over. We don't have to do anything, we don't have to think about it, we don't have to worry about it, talk about it anymore. And this is also having to do with this idea that what is poorly defined is often poorly achieved. Meaning we can ask, well, what is happiness? What is happiness for me? What does it mean? What does it look like? What does it feel like? When do I experience it? When did I experience it? What is it really all about? What does it really mean for me? In looking at things in a little bit of more self-inquiry kind of a way, because if we never really define it, we never really look at it, we never really understand it, perhaps it's less likely that we'll ever really achieve it or ever really notice that it's happening. And oftentimes people poorly define things. First, that we have this kind of sort of deserving kind of immature entitlement about it. And then maybe we don't really create the conditions that it needs. Perhaps we don't really define it, so then we get really into this idea of deferring it, putting it away, putting it aside, and get into this idea that, well, if I want to be productive, if I want to get things done, I need to be stressed, I need to be tense, I need to work hard. It's kind of like if you say to people, hey, listen, hey, pay attention, people will immediately tense up and stress. And what does that do? Gets in the way of the process, gets in the way of the natural functioning of the organism. Much in the same way, people are trying to work, they're trying to be productive, but they think in order to do that, it has to be stressful, it has to be tension. Well, that creates a lack of efficiency in the system. Kind of like if you were to move your hand, but you're going to flex your muscles at the same time, it's going to be really hard. If you just move and you're relaxed, the more relaxed you are, the easier you can move your muscle, the easier you do what you're trying to do because you're not fighting against yourself the whole time. You're not flooring the gas in your car while also flooring the brakes. So we're really conditioned by schooling and by society and culture to think that really in order to get work done, we really need stress and tension in order to be productive, in order to make things happen. And this is because really we're taught to defer happiness. Meaning we'll be happy when we retire. We'll work for 50 years and do all of these things and be stressed and do the 9 to 5 and work 5 days a week and do a little bit on Saturday, do a little bit on Sunday and just live for the weekends because we'll be happy when we can retire, or when we can get the house or the car or the spouse or the status or the promotion. Then we'll be happy. And usually what happens is that never comes. We might get the thing, but we're so conditioned to be stressful that we can't enjoy it. Because these things are like habits, they're like muscles, they are like reflexes. And if we're conditioning ourselves and always strengthening the stress reflex, the tension reflex, the worry reflex, the anxiety reflex, we might be on vacation. We might get the promotion, we might get the house or the spouse or the raise or whatever. And because we have no skill set, we have no ability to relax and enjoy, we don't. All we have is stress, tension, and anxiety because we can't give what we don't have. We can't miss what we've never had. So even though we get the thing that we think will make us happy, we have no capacity. We have no skill set or reflex or empty place inside of us where that thing can then actually come in and reside. Because we're so full of the tension and the anxiety because we think, oh, I can't be happy, can't be happy, can't be happy now, got to do this later, da 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 da. And then that's all we know. That's all we have. Because we get rebind these ideas of control, power, and force. Meaning we have to use power and force and control to make things happen. We don't trust that things will come to us. We don't trust that things will unfold naturally. No, because we have to do it now. We don't have time to wait. We don't have time to feel. We don't have time to reflect. We don't have time to just sit and be. We don't have time to be human beings because we got to make things happen. We got to get things done. We got to get enlightened or get promoted or get healthier, get happier, get undepressed, or get rid of this or get rid of that. We always have to do and this and that. We can't ever just sit, do nothing, be empty, be relaxed. Because we have to use power, control, and force all the time. And even in ourself, even in our internal world, our emotional world, our spiritual world, we got to make it happen. Okay, I got to really, really visualize it. I got to visualize it as hard as I can. I got to put all my energy into it because it has to happen. I got to put it on the vision board and stare at the vision board twice a day for 20 minutes. Use my positive affirmations. I'm going to make it happen. Then we're going to listen to our self-help tapes and get amped up and get ready to go because we got to do it. We got to make it happen. I'm going to create my reality. Really, what is that based on? Perhaps it's based on power, control, and force. It's based on the ego, which is based on conditioning, which is based on society, based on believing that we have this entitlement about things, and really, we're not even living in harmony with our true self. We're not even tuned into the sensitivity of our organism. We're not even present to what's actually happening. And we have no capacity to be present now. Who's to say we're actually going to have a capacity then? We have no capacity to be happy now. We get the $1 million, we get the house or the car. Who says we're going to have any capacity to enjoy it or even be present with it? So then the question is, well, what about harmony? What about harmony with our true self? What about harmony with what's actually right for us? What about harmony for being present in the moment? And people spend so much of their life exchanging it for goods or for things that we think will make us happy, physical or non-physical, and trying to become something we're not and make ourselves different and make ourselves better. That really we forget that we ignore death. We ignore the fixed and finite nature of our existence. What goes up and it goes down. We're born and we die. Our body comes from the earth and it goes back to the earth. We ignore that. We ignore the transient nature and the temporary nature of all of the things that we think we can acquire and the things that we think will make us happy, the status we can achieve, the enlightenment we think we'll have, and the spiritual whatever. We forget that it's all transient. It's all temporary. And it's transient and temporary if it's just conditioned in the mind, in the ego, based on power, control, and force. Because really, what is our actual ability to enjoy life and feel life through the present awareness of our body? And if we're just sitting around thinking, well, I should be, I must be, I can be, I ought to be, then we're always going forward. We're always going in the future. We're buying into this human idea of really, oh, well, there's the past. Man, it was really better then. Crap, here I am now. Oh, wait, here's the future. Maybe it'll be better then. We're always just looking back and saying, well, that was good or bad. Okay, this is going to be better or worse. It's really what we're always doing. We're never really just listening to the body and responding to what the body says, responding to what life brings to us, which is really tying into what we're actually attracting. Because if we're so focused on what we think we want and we need and where we need to go, maybe we don't even see the opportunities that are right in front of us all the time. We think we need this, but really the universe is trying to give us that, but we're just like, no, I don't need that. No. This is what I need. This is what I want. This is what I need to do. The universe is like, no, really, this is kind of more better for you. This is kind of more, harmonious. It's a little bit better for your true self. It's kind of what you need to grow and expand, but we can't see it because we're too focused on using power, control, and force and trying to make this happen, and I got to attract it, got to be the right thing and this and that for the thing. So really we got to ask ourselves, what's our capacity to just be happy now? What's our capacity to be present with our present awareness in our body? And in many of these ways is how most talks and lectures and dissertations and books and movies on law of attraction really fall short, really don't work, really miss the point. Because they try to make things magical and mystical and get people excited and happy and whatever, and also ignore the basics of reality, the foundations of being, the foundations of who and what we are, foundations of what is right for us and what can allow us to harmonize with our true self, harmonize with the cosmos at large.